Greetings, pen pals. I cannot believe another month has come and gone. We're here at October 2021. I'm going to be doing my daily pens video. So this is basically, for those of you who have not seen this before, there's no particular theme or rhyme or reason to these. These just happen to be the pens that I use each day in the month of October 21 for each day at work. Just general note-taking, managing my to-do list, etc. So nothing special about that whatsoever. So let's just get right into it right now. All right, the first pen up is a personal favorite of mine. This has made my favorite pens of the year video, I think, every year that I've been doing it. This is the Wingsung 618. This is a very inexpensive piston filling pen with a hooded nib. It's probably worth mentioning the material on this. This just looks like some ordinary clear acrylic, but it's literally kind of like a step above. This is really one of the better clear acrylic materials of any pen at any price that I have, believe it or not. So this is really a very, very well-made pen. I really also love the way this particular ink goes all the way up, and you can see it all the way in the collector and going all the way up through the hood of the nib. Just looks really, really good. So this is a Wingsung 618. And this ink is Noodler's Dragon's Napalm. Wingsung 618. All right, next up is a very different pen made out of quite different materials. This is a Gamma Hawk. This is a all black, all ebonite pen from India. It is a eyedropper filled pen with a big Indian-made number 8 size nib with an ebonite feed, which is always welcome. So this pen is a Gamma Hawk, and this ink is Noodler's Socrates. Which is what they call an eternal ink. This is one of those inks from Noodlers that you can't wash out or bleach out or anything like that. And it's this nice sort of pastel indigo color. Very, very nice one indeed. Next up is the Opus 88 Coloro Demonstrator. So this looks like a vacuum-filled pen, but it's not. It's what they call a Japanese-style eyedropper. So it has a integrated shutoff valve, but it is an eyedropper-filled pen. Has a big number 6 steel nib in broad. Opus 88 Coloro does not post, which is really one of the downsides of this pen. So here we have an Opus 88 Coloro, and this ink is Colorburst Clear Cyan. This Colorburst Clear Cyan is a very, very light colored ink, so you really, really need to use it in a big, fat, wet pen like this. Otherwise, it just kind of disappears altogether. All right, next up is a pen that I did a bit of nib swapping on. This is the Conklin Endura Abalone. So this is made out of natural abalone material. It is quite beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous pen, but the nib was atrocious. A Conklin Duraflex nib, which just doesn't work, period. So I replaced it with a number 6 Anderson pen steel nib in stub, which really writes quite well. This is a screw to post pen, by the way. Really, really nice pen. So this is a Conklin Endura Abalone, and this has a Anderson number 6 steel nib, and this ink is Diamine Purple Rain. Conklin Endura Abalone, one of the nicest natural materials I have on any pen. Really, really nice. All right, next up is a vintage pen from Pelican. This is a Pelican MK30. This is a piston-filled 14-karat gold nib pen that is basically Pelican's answer to the Lamy 2000 or say the Montblanc 220, for example. They all were around at the same time. The Lamy 2000 is the only one that's still in production. But this was basically German-made, black, standard size pen, gold nib, etc. So very, very comparable to those other pens. Really writes well. Piston fill pen, really, really nice. This is a Pelican MK30, and the ink here is Pelican Blue Black. Pelican MK30. Really, really nice pen. All right, next up is another Indian-made ebonite pen. This one's from Lotus Vamsa. Vamsa is the Sanskrit word for bamboo, and it is made to look like a stick of bamboo. Really, really nice one. The standard version of this doesn't have a clip. I actually have a special order with the clip, and it has a Schmidt number 6 steel nib in it. So here we have a Lotus Vamsa. And this ink is Ackerman SBRE Brown. Lotus Vamsa, really nice pen. This ebonite material is really quite spectacular. Really beautiful pen. All right, next up is another really beautiful pen in another way. This is the Pelican M1005 Strazemon. The Strazemon is this gray pinstripe edition. It has an absolutely spectacular 18 karat gold, beautiful, big nib. It's a piston filler. Really, really writes well and is a very gorgeous pen. So here we have a Pelican M1005 Strazemon. And this ink is Pelican Edelstein Star Ruby. Pelican M1005 Strazemon. Really, really pen. Back to another Indian-made pen. This one is not ebonite. This is an acrylic pen, and it's ivory and black acrylic. This is a Naga Ganesha. Huge pen. Beautiful, beautiful big pen. It can be either cartridge converter or eyedropper. I'm using a cartridge converter, and it has a number 8 titanium nib from Bach with a ebonite feed, which is a very nice feature of the number 8 size Bach nibs. So this is a Naga Ganesha, and like we said, this has a number 8 Bach titanium nib, and this ink is Noodler's Blue Black. Naga Ganesha, huge pen, one of the biggest pens I have, in fact. Next up is I think our first pilot pen of the bunch, but not the last. This is a Pilot Custom Heritage 912. Has a fantastic 14 karat nib, and this is the FA nib. This is the closest thing, in my opinion, that is made to a vintage flex nib. So we have a Pilot Custom Heritage 912, and this has an FA, and we'll put flex in quotes, nib. And of course you do want to see it do some flexing, so I will oblige a little bit. There we go, not too bad. And this ink is Iroshizuku Ima Euro. Pilot Custom Heritage 912. All right, like I said, there's going to be some more pilots, and the next one up is maybe my favorite pilot and maybe my favorite pen of all at the moment, is my Pilot Custom Urushi Just an absolutely fantastic pen. This is in the Vermillion color. It has a massive 18 karat gold, size 30 dual tone nib. That's what Pilot calls this size nib. It's a cartridge converter filled pen from Pilot. So this is a Pilot custom Urushi in Vermillion. And this ink is Iroshizuku Momiji. Pilot Custom Urushi in Vermillion. Just a fantastic, fantastic pen. All right, next up is a considerably less expensive pen than the last one. This is a new pen for 2021. This is the Twisby Swipe. So this is basically a spring it's a spring pump converter type pen. It's the first cartridge converter pen from Twisby. Very different than most other Twisbys, but it is a very, very well-made pen. Has quite a different clip than a lot of Twisbys have. This is a very, very tight clip. It's slightly less usable, but it is really nicely made. All in aluminum here. The shape, etc., is just really quite nice. Pull to uncap pen that does post quite well. Twisby Swipe. So this is a Twisby Swipe. And this ink is Twisby Sky Blue. Twisby Swipe, a nice, popular, inexpensive pen from Twisby, new in 2021. All right, next up is kind of an oddball from a size perspective. This is a very chubby, very, very short pen. This is the Moonman Q1. I'll compare it to the Twisby Swipe just so you can see how fatter and shorter it is than a fairly conventionally sized pen. So there you go. Very, very unusual form factor, but you know, it posts, and frankly, it's not uncomfortable to use. I did use this at work, and it was really quite fine. So here we go. This is a Moonman Q1, and this ink is Monteverde Iced Cookie. Moonman Q1. Again, very, very unusual shape and size pen. All right, next up is a much more conventional pen. This is the Pelican M805 Ocean Swirl. Just absolutely magnificent material here on this pen. With Pelican pens, if they end in a 5, they have rhodium trim, and if they end in a 0, they have gold trim. That's really the numbering system. So this is an 805, so it has a rhodium plated trim. Piston-filled pen begins with an M. That's how you know all modern Pelican pens that are piston-filled begin with an M, and it has this really, 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 really nice 18 karat nib that is just gorgeous. So this is a Pelican M805 Ocean Swirl, and this ink is Pelican Turquoise. Just really, really, really nice pen. All right, next up is yet another pen from Pilot. This is a Pilot Custom 74 with a 14 karat music nib. So this is going to write very, very stubby. And like a lot of the higher end Pilots, it has the little filler hole halfway down the section, so you don't have to dip the pen all the way up, halfway down the feed, so you don't have to dip the pen all the way up to the section to fill it, which is a nice feature. So this is a Pilot Custom 74 with a 14 karat music nib, and this ink is Iroshizuku Asagal. Pilot Custom 74. One of my favorite pilots, in fact. All right, next up is a vintage pen. I don't have too many of those this month. This is an Esther Brook Model J. This one's interesting. It says Bell System Property. This is actually a common thing that a lot of companies did. So basically, they would brand the pen with the name. So if you stole the pen from the office, basically everybody would know what it was. So this was Bell System Property. Bell System, for those of you who don't know, before the 1980s, that was the brand name that AT&T operated under before they were broken up in 1984 or 1983 or 1984 as a result of a decades-long lawsuit from the U.S. government. But there you go. Beautiful pen. A lever filler, means it has a sack pen, and this has what they call a Falcon type nib, a 2442 Esther Brook nib, which is really just one of my favorite Esther Brook nibs. So this is an Esther Brook Model J. And this ink is Monteverde Blue Black. Yes, I know it doesn't really look like blue black, but that's what Monteverde calls it. Esther Brook Model J. All right, next up is some more black ink. This is a Wingsung 699, which is normally not a piston filler, but this one is a piston filler. So this is the piston fill variant of the Wingsung 699, which is normally a vac filler. So there you go. Nice nib, writes well, posts well. Really pretty. I like the black, gold, and clear materials all work well together. Nice looking pen. It really all kind of works together well. So this is a Wingsung 699 piston, and this ink is Noodler's Old Manhattan, which is not an ink you can buy everywhere. So that is an exclusive to Fountain Pen Hospital in New York, which is a brick and mortar fountain pen store in Manhattan, which if you're ever in town, I highly recommend you go to. It's a great, great, great place. I have been buying stuff there for years. All right, next up is another Chinese-made pen. This is a Pen BBS Model 456, which is a vac filler from Pen BBS. I really like the ivory and translucent material. It just really works really well. The ivory material is quite pretty, and unlike a lot of vac fillers, it posts and posts well, which is very, very nice to see. So this is a Pen BBS 456 vac filler, and this ink is Birmingham Twilight. And like I said, nice pen from Pen BBS Model 456. I have a lot of 456s, but this one is one of my favorites. All right, next up is a pen from Bic, which is not a company you associate with fountain pens. This is the Bic EasyClick. It's a, I guess EasyClick because the cap clicks on. It's sort of an inexpensive student pen with a folded over steel nib. Doesn't post, which I think is a big mistake for a student pen. Has a weird, it's a cartridge only pen, and it has a weird way of engaging the cartridge. So you pull this out, and it has like a little holder for the cartridge, and then you kind of pivot it in, and then the cartridge engages. So it's a little bit of a funky funky way of filling. All right, we have a Bic EasyClick. And this ink is Organic Studio. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Twilight Blue. Bic EasyClick. Probably might be the least expensive pen that I have in the bunch this month. All right, next up is a pen that's a bit more expensive, but much heavier, certainly. This is a Diplomat Arrow. This is a beautifully made aluminum pen, pulled to uncap with a nice number 6 nib in broad. Really, really nice pen. Cartridge converter filled pen, Diplomat Arrow. And this ink is Robert Oster Orange Zest. Diplomat Arrow. Super, super nice. All right, next up is the Lambitu 3088. This is a clone or copy. Not a counterfeit because it clearly is labeled what it is, but it's a clone or copy of a Platinum Curidas. That's basically what it is. If you like the Platinum Curidas, you like this pen. If you don't like the Platinum Curidas, you will not like this pen. So this is a Lambitu 3088, and this ink is Seitz Kreuznach Tomato Red. Lambitu 3088. All right, we have come down to the last pen of the month. This is a pen BBS 487. This is the magnetic filler. So this is probably one of the most over-engineered filling mechanisms there is. Basically, it's a piston without any kind of mechanism to move the piston. There's a magnet in the end of the cap that I'm not going to do it here because I don't want to squirt the ink out, but you engage the piston magnetically and you actually drag the piston back and forth. Amazingly as it sounds, it does sort of kind of sometimes work. So that's, you can see that's the piston, that's the piston sticking to the thing. If I was to drag that back and forth, I would actually move the piston out, which we don't want to do. Other than that, it's a typical pen BBS pen. This has a number 6 nib in medium. So this is a pen BBS 487, and this has a number 6 nib in medium, and this ink is Aroshizuku Konpeki. I would encourage you to look at both my video and Douglas Rathbun's video on this pen. We did a lot of detailed discussion on the pros and cons and our thoughts on this mechanism. Speaking of thoughts, one thought that I have is that it would be fantastic for you all to please like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you could do those things, it would be very much appreciated by me. But it looks like we've come to the end of this video. As always, I hope you enjoyed watching it, because I sure enjoyed making it for all you fine folks. And until we see each other again, have a great, great day. Goodbye.